When I went onto the pitch, I was the best player. But actually, as soon as the game finished, drained. If I lost the game, it was don't speak to anyone 2-3 days. Watch myself back, no way. I never want a player to ever feel any of that fear. So I treat everyone as if I was coaching a young me. I got to play the best game in the world. I've been playing stadiums I could only ever dream of.
Never fear a storm.
Be ready to adapt.
The skill is staying true to ourselves.
Craig, welcome to High Performance.
Thank you.
We're very much looking forward to celebrating your career and the things that you've done and where you are now. I wonder if we went to one of your players at Wales and asked them, tell us about Craig Bellamy as a football manager. What would you like them to say?
I would like them to say first and foremost that they enjoy it. To me, that's the most important. And then playing wise, calm. I think you have to be. I don't see the needs in any type of like ranting or raving, and just really habits. It's always habits. Work early, reactions, recovery runs. And I believe you get to enjoy it then. You enjoy it more. Enjoy the other side of the game. So, I just like, my biggest bit was, do you know what? I love playing for him. That would be the best compliment I could ever get.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah, I've loved it. I wasn't sure. I like coaching. I like being out every day. You know, even the little bits in the morning, setting up the pitches, and like that was peace. And I really enjoyed that. Like I would make it even more complicated by having those like lines where you have to put the pegs in where you don't need to. A disc can do it, but I had to be perfect. Yeah. And like one station and the next station. I love doing that in the mornings. But I felt it wasn't something I was looking for, because I like being happy and I like being content. And this is what's working for me at this present moment. I'm like, don't need to move, don't need to look for the next. But I don't know. I just felt there was something coming, like it just towards the end of that Premier League season with Burnley. I've sort of seen the Championship, I've seen the Premier League, and little questions around like, would I survive in this? Would I be able to do this?
Yeah.
And then the only way is you're going to have to find out then.
I'm interested by that term. It was peace. From what?
Always from me. Always. Because I'm a serial overthinker. If something's going really well in my life, that makes me uncomfortable. I need chaos. So I felt. So it's like got to be something else. But then being content and being present, I started to really understand what present meant, and allows me to slow down, allows me to enjoy. And that's all I want to do. It's is find that enjoyment. It could be from the small things, you know, it doesn't have to be a defining moment or your work. And, you know, it could be just tiny, like I just had a coffee then 5 minutes ago. Nice. Yeah, that was perfect at that time, you know. So those little moments cherish, but also be present around people as well. I tend to, like, if my world wasn't in the right place where I needed to, I could literally not really speak. You get 2 words out of me. And it wasn't because of you, it was nothing to do with you. But how I deal with my mind racing. So allowing breathing, stay calm. And just, I don't know, the older you get, the better the better you learn about yourself. And I felt, you know, I've coming into an age of being through all these experiences, and they've helped me. They've helped me. So I'm probably getting the best version of me right now. So this time, probably doing this interview is a very good time for you guys.
Brilliant. Because you said you needed chaos. What do you mean by that?
Because I always feel if this is going too well, where's my next one? Well, then I have to push again. Like, don't settle for this. So all these habits, you know, football can teach you a lot of really good habits, but it can teach you a lot of bad ones as well. If I lost the game, it was don't speak to anyone 2-3 days. like really, like sleepless nights over stuff. And even if I scored and scored 2, I should have scored 3, or I missed that for 4. And that would eat me up more than what you just done. So you're always like searching for more when actually you need to just enjoy what's happening now. Even defeats, actually enjoy them, because you're only going to improve. It's only going to make you better. And that's where, that fear runs out. Do you understand what I mean? It was like, because we're run off fear and we're taught fear. We're taught that. And I really don't like it. It's not something I want hanging over me. Nor like in coaching, I never want a player to ever feel any of that. It's not fear. It's a game of football. It's a game of football. In life, there's a lot more going on. It's a lot harder. This is enjoyment. And we get to bring enjoyment to people. And for me, that's like, how can you not enjoy this? And part of my career as well was I probably didn't enjoy it enough. And I don't want players to go through that. I love the game. This is like the greatest game in the world. And I'm so proud to say that. And I was a part of it. And I'm still a part of it now. But it's there to be enjoyed. It's not there to be, what happens if this happens? What happens if that happens? Because we're always fighting. You could lose your place or someone could get bought. And, so you're always in competition mode. But embrace it. Enjoy that side.
So when was fear first present then for you?
Fear was from a young age. Once you start coming into full time, like apprentices, that's what we were at that time. And then even, like I was a young father as well at 17, then fear comes in. Like if I don't get a contract, who's going to put food on his table? Where's he going to live? How am I going to live? How am I going to provide? So those moments then, it become real. It weren't just me. I had someone else to look after. And then that like put me in overdrive. But also, it gave me a lot of motivation. I wouldn't recommend it for most 17-year-olds. But at the same time, it was like a big driving force. But also when I look back now, that taught me a lot of negativity as well.
So let's go back then to 17-year-old Craig Bellamy, playing at arguably the greatest football club in the world, Norwich City. How would you describe your kind of, not just your mentality, but how that mentality informed and impacted your sort of daily behaviours around that time?
No, mine at that time, I spent my first year as a 16-year-old playing in and out. I wasn't as quite developed as some players. So I was in and out and homesick a lot. And I have to be honest, I wanted out. This was like, I want to do what my friends are doing back home. If I don't make, like, this is actually, I didn't realize how hard football was, how much you got to dedicate yourself to the game, sleeping at the right time, waking up, training, eating the right foods. It was just so much like that comes into not just the playing side. There's so much around it that makes that player. And I wasn't sure if I had the appetite for it. There was times I wanted to tap out, times I wanted out, but I didn't want to make the decision. So what's easy then? Create a problem, get involved in an incident, then they chuck you out.
Like what sort of stuff?
I got involved in a fight as a kid,
At Norwich?
Yeah. So I got a severe first warning. Second time round, warning didn't come. So when I went on for long weekends, didn't come back. So they waited. They taught me patience as well. They knew what I was trying to do, but they weren't going to let me out of that. So they wanted it. If it's going to be your decision, it's got to be your decision. We ain't making this for you. So by then I was like, well, I can't quit because I don't want that living with me. It'd be much easier if you make the decision for me. Then I can blame you for the rest of my life. Probably I won't do, because after about 10, 15 years, I realized it was all me. But I don't want to be that person sat around in a local area and local pubs like everyone else was, blaming everyone else. So that was like, that didn't sit with me either. I don't want to be, I would have made it, but it was this, or it was that coach. And I didn't want to be that person, couldn't be that person. So by sticking it out, and then back next season in July, it was towards the end of July, then I knew I was going to become a father. And I was literally left with the decision of, like, if I'm going to do this, I got to do this properly. You know, if it doesn't work, at least I can look him in the eyes and say, look, I wasn't good enough, but I've done everything I could to be the best I could be. If it does work, then we can do okay, maybe. So that made a decision for me. And that was, I didn't look back. Like the amount of water I was drinking, sleeping well. And then my performances just started to, you know, I went from a talented player to literally like the player in the team. You know, I got offered a pro contract within a couple of months after that. Like ended up captaining the team that won a league in the South East Counties, which is like tough. That league was like Lampards and all that, West Ham, Rios and everyone, Jody Morris at Chelsea, like Kieran Dyer at Ipswich. Like this was a tough league, and we won it by a mile. We were top. We were really, and I was the player for that. And that really, then I made my debut within that season as well. But then that just gave me the drive. Generally, you know, when you're doing everything right, it's no coincidence that performances start creeping up. So that was my mind, like, well, this has to be this then. And that was it. That was my driving force really for that.
Look, aging happens to all of us, but feeling old, I believe, is totally optional. And I actually started noticing just recently some little subtle changes. I had slower recovery after my workouts. I was a bit stiffer. I just had whole days where I just felt like my energy wasn't there. I just felt like a bit ugh. And that's when I found this. This is Qualia Senolytic. And this is a breakthrough formula that actually helps your body to naturally clear out senescent cells. They're also known as zombie cells, right? They kind of stick around, they drain your energy. They're cells that make you feel sluggish, a bit sore, just basically older than you should. And what's cool about this is you only take Qualia Senolytic 2 days a month. It's plant-based, it's got a vegan formula, and it will support your body's natural process to just get rid of those cells. And since I started, I've had more energy, I recover faster. That kind of spark that I thought was gone forever feels like it's back. And if you would like to get involved, check it out at qualialife.com/performance for up to 50% off, and use code performance for 15% off, or just click the link in the description. Go to qualialife.com/performance. Your future self will thank you. And thanks to Qualia for partnering with High Performance.
You were at Norwich.
Yeah.
The mentality was challenging for a while, but you sorted things out. And then you left to go to Coventry, and eventually you ended up at Newcastle, right?
Yeah.
And I think we should talk about Newcastle, because when we look at you now as this manager that talks about calm and contentment and joy in your football, people will remember a very different player at Newcastle.
Yeah.
What are your memories of that time?
Oh, I loved it. Even like Coventry one situation, I meant, like, don't forget I got relegated the season before that. I had very little impact. It was only a year after my cruciate. And I didn't not only have an impact playing wise, at times I did, but it wasn't consistent or anywhere near enough for what Coventry needed. But I also felt like a shell of myself. I wasn't arguing with people. I wasn't, and then when I went to Newcastle, it was like, I understood the stadium. I understood, like, this is like now or never, but I'm going to be me. You know, like, this cape's coming on. Because if I really looked at it, and I looked at the 50,000 empty stadium, because I went to the stadium, I was like, I can't play in this. Really? I have huge anxiety as well, like being around people, and it's a big problem for me. It always has been from a young age, which I didn't quite understand until you get a little bit older. But you got to put that, like, cape on then. It's like, well, this is who I'm going to be then. Put the mask on, get ready, get going, fight. No one believes in me. I'll show you all. You know, it was that type. Because I remember the radio stations, even up there, because it was not easy to listen to, but I wanted to listen to it. Because I remember, like, someone went to turn it down. A guy who was driving me. I was like, no, turn it up. It was like, why are we signing Craig Bellamy? Just got relegated, done nothing. Why are we paying this money for him? This is where Newcastle are going to be fighting relegation again next year. And I was like, okay, now we're going to have to see. And that was it. And even when I done well at the start, I was like, oh, you lot weren't keen on me, by the way. You know, oh, now you are. Now you are. Now I'm suddenly a decent player for you. So that just drove me. It was like, because I was doing well being that person, it was like, I have to be this person then.
And what is this person?
Just like aggressive, completely Like when I went onto the pitch, like I was the best player. Trust me, I'm the best player. Everyone's here to watch me. If they ain't, they're going to be talking about me after the game. Now, off the pitch, I'm like, that completely isn't true. It's like, yeah, do you know when you just reality hits? Oh, what am I going to do here? Like, they're so good, he's so good, and incredible. But by the time I got on that pitch, I was like, no, I'm the best one.
So you said that you were suffering from anxiety. So how would that manifest itself off the field?
No, it was even as a kid.
Okay.
Even as a kid, yeah.
And where does that come from, do you think?
It's family. Yeah, it's
Same
family.
up.
Yeah. So it can get passed down as well. So yeah, it was part of, like people in my family suffered from it as well. Quite badly as well, even to this day. So for me was, I didn't quite understand because football releases you. Do you understand? When you're playing with your friends out in the field,
Sure.
a ball can keep 40, 50 kids happy. And we were always playing. I never and best thing about football, especially playing out in the field or street, there was no age gap. So whenever, in you come, and if you're quite good, you stay in, and so that released me. Do you understand where, being in confined spaces, being around in a classroom, say for instance, around a load of people wasn't great for me. It wasn't like I just, if there was one kid looking to get out the door, it was me.
What was happening in your head then at that moment?
It's difficult to tell because I didn't quite know at the time. You just feel sometimes a little bit socially awkward. But for me, the only conversations I could have was about football. That was the only way. So if you were teaching me a subject, it wasn't really, and I've learned from that even to this day now. It was like teachers were quite good at, well, if you don't want to learn, stay at the back of the class. Don't interrupt the ones who do want to learn, sorry. So I'd be at the back, no problem. That's great for me, but actually it's not quite correct. Like a teacher would be, well, why don't you want to learn? There must be something I can trigger you to get you to learn. Now, if football's, well, I'll teach you in this type of way. And I feel like would have worked hugely for me. Now, I'm not blaming all teachers. Obviously, myself has a responsibility for that. But when you learn, you're like, well, for me, it was like I try and bring everything back to football. Now, if we're talking about history, so for instance, I know a little bit about Austria because I know their main player. So from the 40s, who literally died in Second World War. So I'm like, that brings me back to that history. Yeah. What happened there, So I try and bring everything back football related because it just stimulates me and gets me able to learn. So yeah, but when you don't, and I get uncomfortable with certain situations, and it was just quite normal for me really. And I always felt that I didn't like going out. I'd usually, not just games. The only time you go out really is when you're socialized.
Yeah.
But in drink, it's easy to socialize then. You so and that's not a way to live either.
And the anxiety element, like I guess you're saying like a parent of yours had anxiety as well?
Yeah. Yeah, uncles.
Did you ever talk about that as a family?
No, I didn't know it. It wasn't like anything brought in. Now we know a lot more.
Yeah.
But at that time, it wasn't. And don't forget, even with football coaching as well, there'd be nerves. So you were careful about talking about nerves, careful about talking about anxiety leading into a game. And I wasn't because I was fearful of a game, wasn't that? It was just how I was. It was just, how did I bring this up? Now, in order to do that, I can't go with those overriding thoughts. So by the time that hour came before the game, like this person has to come up. I have to let go of all this, and this person has to come up. And then, boom.
So it sounds like you'd almost created a persona or a character.
Completely.
So how would you describe that? I know you said about that character that turned up at Newcastle was aggressive or arguing or got that sense of confidence, but how would you feel when you took on that role?
At that time, it worked. It was working. So great. As soon as the game finished, drained, just like, watch myself back? No way. Couldn't watch a game back. No me in it. Impossible. It's like, who is that? And actually cringing. Even like things like arguing with refs and I dislike. Now I understand emotion. Don't forget my father was a ref. So
Right.
maybe that was probably why I was having a go at him, because I was having a go at him. No, not at all. No, he was a brilliant dad. But no, it was, it was just that feeling of like, I don't know. I feel sometimes the most insecure is the loudest.
Yeah.
And I think you've seen real insecurity. You might see it as confidence. You might see it as like, no, it isn't. It's disguised. But actually, you see that with players, even I see it now, but it's how do you channel it? I need you with more energy, because our intensity is like, has to be up. Now, arguing, getting involved, throwing arms, all this, you're wasting energy. That's all you're doing. It's going to not allow you to perform better. You need as much energy as you can to be on the ball and to press at a certain time, set triggers. So we need all that energy. Let it go. Let it go. As soon as you make a bad pass, let it go. What about the next one? Give it again, give it away again. What about the next one? It's not a problem. But we need that energy. Now imagine the amount of energy, and I was a real high intense player. My sprint distance was probably something that could live in today's game, even though that's cranked up again. But the energy I used by getting involved and emotionally involved was draining. I think I would have been a better player.
But I find it really telling that you said like insecurity is often the loudest. Was there anyone that recognised that to be able to
No.
help you channel it?
No, I don't. We weren't as educated as what we're getting into now. Over
Right.
the last 5 odd years, you would have known even on your podcast now, the people you're speaking to, you're seeing a different side now. Now, a lot of people who don't want to know will disregard everything. Oh, it's all this. It's not. There's always an element is how can we improve? And everything, if you even look at life and you look at these interviews now, you'll be like, how can we get the best one next? How can we improve again? You enjoy this. But everything, even like myself, it wasn't, when I finished football, allowed me to look like, how can I be a better person? How can I be a better dad? How can I be a better partner? It was always like my self-awareness is a big strength of mine. I don't always get it right. I don't want to be perfect, nor do I try to pretend to be. But how can I improve? Everything that happened in the past is only a lesson. Right now, everything I concentrate about is being present. And the future is just only motivation. It's only motivation. And I just try and stay in those moments.
Mate, that is so powerful. I sort of have this image, when you spoke at the beginning about you like putting the cones out because it was a moment of peace.
Mm.
I sort of hear you talking and I think your head at that time when you were, Norwich, Coventry, Newcastle and the subsequent clubs, it sounds to me like an exhausting place to be in your head.
Oh, honestly, even when I finished, it was like, I could breathe. Okay, it took me about 5-6 weeks to stop limping out of the bed. It's normal. Your body's going to take impact. I had like 6 knee ops. But it was like, allow me to just go, like, let go. And then you always reflect. You always do. It's normal. What was your career? What did you enjoy the most? And I got to be honest, I was like so grateful for my career. I got to play like the best game in the world and play in stadiums I could only ever dream of, have moments you could only ever dream of. Did I win trophy? People like to brainwash you into the feeling of, well, you've got to win stuff and that proves you keep hearing it. Only very few win. Very few win. Trust me. It's like, but for me to get where I got to with the body I have and everything, I won. Right? I might not have Premier League trophies, but I'm telling you, I won. That's the trophy. Nothing can beat that trophy for me. So I look back and I'm like, beyond grateful. Anything else would be just greed, too much. What I had was like beyond grateful for. And even when you peel it back again, I'm like, I wish I enjoyed it more. Do you know the moment you get like a little bit nervous before something or, anxiety kicked in? It was like, what am I being like? Why am I beating myself up over this? Like, I've always wanted to do this. How can I not enjoy it? I can also like, I lost. Is it the end of the world? Really? 2 days time, I can change it. Very rare in life you're able to do that. Sometimes you have to, Olympic athletes and all that, 4 years to worry about it next time round. you know? And it was like, no, let it go. Let it go. And it doesn't mean you don't care. Of course you do. But there's ways of being able to, you know, you learn from it. That's a moment that, how do I know that scenario, I know this. And you have a better chance then if you relax and you find computer zone than when you play. The best moments you have, like, were effortless. You couldn't put a foot wrong because your mind was completely not worried about this. If I give this away or that happens or this happens, and you're thinking all the negative thoughts, it just drains you. Like, I wish I found computer zone and learned how to find
What do you
that
mean
a lot
computer
more.
zone? Just almost emotionally dead?
Just in the game.
Yeah.
Living in the moment. You know, playing the game is the game.
Because you said a moment ago, and you almost threw it away, you said, I'd have been so much better.
Easily, because you're tense. And when you're tense and you're working yourself up, you're draining energy. And in our game, we need energy, you know, to be able to play with freedom, to be able to, like, control the ball. If that ball comes into our pass your ball and I pass the hard, and it's in your head straight away, I'm going to miscontrol this. I guarantee you're going to miscontrol it. But if you're already thinking, watch this now, watch this for a touch, boom, hits, because your mind's already there. So finding those moments all the time. If I'm going to hit a diagonal or whatever, like, watch this for a ball now, boom, it hits it. If I'm thinking, oh, I could shank this now, guarantee you got a great chance of
How
happening.
often would your brain be going, you're going to shank this, you're going to miscontrol this?
No, you're always on a personal battle. So if I'm one-on-one with a goalkeeper, I'm going to miss. Boom, I missed. You know?
Yeah. And how often was your brain telling you the negative rather than the positive?
It would try. It was like a complete fight.
All
Yeah,
game?
it was a battle, yeah. But even the night before, I'd have to take a sleeping tablet before a game. It was a fight. Like, otherwise I wouldn't be sleeping. Impossible. You can't tell me what I'm about to do tomorrow. What's going to happen? Because my mind was just, like, I needed, like, the only way to sleep was to take a sleeping tablet before, from the age of about 20, 21, before every single game took a sleeping tablet. I didn't live off them, but before every game, because otherwise I wouldn't sleep. Impossible.
Did you ever seek help at this stage?
No, didn't know it was, I really didn't know it was there.
Right.
You know, and even one or two people were speaking to psychologists, and, you know, that started, like, and it was like, who does that? Like, what's he going to do? Make you play better? You know, that's the mindset.
Yep.
You know, it wasn't, and it was only till later on then. It was only till certain instances happened and make you reflect, make you look at yourself as like, well, where am I going? You know, what's my world going to be like? Because this is going to end. This game's going to end for me, whether we like it or not. I ain't playing anymore after the set, and I've, like, got, what, a big chunk of my life to live. How do I want to live that? So I need to start on a real, like, serious, like, look at myself.
Yep.
And what habits, you know, because otherwise there's only one way you can turn. Well, I say there's two ways. Either go in a pub every day and drink, well, I don't be here. So really, if you think about it, like, I want to be here. So I need to have a really, really good look at
Is that
myself.
really what your brain was thinking?
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I tell you what it was, mostly how crazy it was. It was like, something bad's going to happen to me because it's been so good. I'm going to have to pay for this somewhere. You know, it's got to. Now, whether it's an illness, whether it's something like that, that's what I was that's what my mind was. You know, my life's been too good. You know, I've got to experience such a high. I got to be able to pay for this somewhere down the line. So for me was, it wasn't an easy way. It wasn't an easy way being young.
You said some things happened that meant you then did seek therapy. Are you happy to tell us what those things were?
It was when Speedo passed away.
Gary Speed.
Yeah, when Gary passed away. It was a moment I couldn't understand. I didn't see it coming, like we don't. Then you look back and it's like, it's not him. There's no way, but I know how clever he was. Incredible leader, incredible person. Would give you the right advice, but kick you up the backside when you needed it as well, and which you always respected because you knew it come from a good place with him. So when that happened, in a strange moment, because it was going so well for him at Wales, loved it, loved what he was doing with us. But also that person, I was with him for 4 odd years and respected and really admired him. It was like, what if it can happen to him? Like, we're all in trouble. And that's how I felt. It was like, I need to have a real, and I was lucky we have a doctor at Liverpool called Zaf. I think he's at Arsenal just had a quiet word with me, just said, look, I'd like you to go and see someone. And I was like unsure, because it was like a little bit new to me. So we explained the person, like Steve Peters. And then I got to spend time with him, and it was a complete different world.
And what was it that meeting with Steve did for you?
It was just going through a lot of your fears, and like I was so. It was like, what scares you the most about retiring? And for me was not winning a trophy. That I feel my career would be a complete failure if I don't win that trophy. And he was like, okay, you understand how crazy that sounds? Because like your career's been incredible. It's like, you don't need a trophy for that. Now, if you get one, brilliant. But you don't need, because I looked at it like I was always, like I lost the semi-final year, but when I look back, I lost to the better team. I didn't lose to like Wickham or I lost to the better team every time. Where's the shame in that? You can't do nothing more than your best. If someone outperforms you, brilliant. You have to accept it. It's not like, but if you didn't perform and a team you should have beat, and because you didn't prepare yourself, then you can understand that haunting you. But when you lost out to actually the better team, and actually when I really looked through it, it was like, 3 months after seeing him, I won a trophy. For the first time. And do you know when I picked that trophy up? It's like, is this what I've been worried about? I got a game in 3 days' time. It's like, this is it. This is supposed to give me, it's like, then I realized, what are you doing? Like, what are you, like, where's your mind got you to chase this? And now suddenly you think this is going to fulfill everything and you can retire happy now. And it's like, no, actually felt better before. It's like, I've been chasing this it didn't give me any, like accomplishment, like every day, getting into training first, leaving last, working, being the best you can be. That's winning. That was for me was like, that's my reward. This is what turning up every single day to try and be better. That for me was like, that's winning. And that's what I get more like gratification. That's what I feel more, that's the buzz. That's the buzz for me.
And I think it's so important you say that, because there will be so many players, and you will manage some of them at Wales, who are handcuffed by this need to win a trophy, thinking it validates their entire career and brings them a happiness.
But
and it's a myth.
But a complete myth. But if you're playing in League Two and you're doing everything you can to be there. Now, if you didn't, you would be in Conference or Conference South, Conference North. But your best is there in League Two. You've won.
That's your Everest.
You've won. You don't need to, like, the others get Premier League and, that's maybe out your reach, but it doesn't mean you're not the best you can be, or you shouldn't be anywhere near satisfied, or people should look down on you thinking, well, that's not like, oh yeah, but he only played that. That's their problem.
Yeah.
Let them deal with that, because they'll have a big problem with everything. It's not yours. Can you look at yourself in the mirror and say, but what was the best I could get to? You don't need any trophies, because that's your trophy. That's what you've done. You've turned up every single day to be the best you can be, and this is where it's got you. Otherwise, you would have been lower down or maybe even part-time. It's like, you deserve everything. That's where you should accept. And not accept, but I mean, that's the enjoyment. Yeah. That's the buzz.
When we had the ex-trader Gary Stevenson on the podcast, he said something that really struck me. Working harder isn't the solution. If the systems around you aren't set up to support your efforts, you simply end up burning out. And I think that's a reality that so many business owners feel. I've certainly been there myself. You start with passion, but then the admin takes over, chasing invoices, losing receipts, not getting paid. All of that gets in the way of what you actually wanted to build in the first place. And that's why we've partnered with Tide, because they're not just offering people a business account, they're offering clarity. It's an all-in-one financial toolkit that will help you take back control. So you can send your invoices, you can track your expenses, you can automate your taxes, you can even issue team cards all in one app. So it's quick, it's simple, and it gives you time back to focus on what really matters. And if you sign up now using our code HP50 and spend £100 on your new Tide card, you'll get £50 cash back. T's and C's apply. Just hit the link in the description.
What did that bring you when you recognised that you had already won? What did that do for your performance?
I ended up at 32, running more. Crazy, yeah. 32. Highest intensity. I run my best like sprint distance. Repeated sprints. I got to like, I think I broke pro zone record at the time, about 124 in one game. I think they do it a little bit differently now, but I was like top one. So by letting go, allow me to be even freer. Allow me because all it does is just, the more tense you get, the more like you're burning energy. Save that energy because I'm going to need it for elsewhere. And it actually allowed me to perform better.
Did it also give you freedom from the things that had happened in the past? Did it help to kind of make sense of like the famous fallout you had with Graeme Souness at Newcastle, for example?
Yeah, I know. I got to be honest. Like people talk about regrets. I don't have any in this. I can't buy it. I don't. Because of course I do. Would I put myself in that situation again? No.
For those that don't understand, would you share the story of what happened there in the situation?
I don't think honestly, it's like for me, and I don't mean that as in, like I'm happy to talk like anything. It's not a problem to me. But I only ever learned from it. Yeah. And that's the honest truth. I don't like, what could I have done differently? Yeah, I could have done something different there.
So you you spoke out against Graeme Souness, right?
No, not really. It was more, look, it was a difficult role for him to come into, to follow Sir Bobby Robson. And I feel like results weren't going away. And when they weren't going away, I felt like he wanted to start a fire then. It was, someone's got to pay for this. It can't be on him. So, yeah, but I can't win because I got this problem and I got that problem. But I only felt it was from his creation. Now, other players didn't fall for it. I did. So I bit back, and then that was perfect ammo. Now, should I bit back? No. Manager is always right. And I don't like I would have said that 10, 15 years ago. But my feeling towards where the club was and where it was going wasn't like under Sir Bobby Robson, we were Champions League, and people thought it like sort of got out of hand. I thought that was a myth. There was only one person who wanted change, and that was Shepherd, Freddie Shepherd. And he's passed away now, so I hate talking about, and I don't feel it's fair. So that's the last time I mentioned his name. I'm surprised I actually did it then. But I felt there was the change, but he needed someone to blame for it.
Right.
It's got to be this group. It's got to be that group. And I didn't feel that was the case. I felt Sir Bobby didn't deserve what happened at the time. And it was hard to take. When I watched him leave the building, it was tough. It was tough. Because I could see tears in his eye. You know, this was a painful one for him. It was painful for all of us. And then the man management of Graeme was completely opposite to what Sir Bobby Robson was. Some people would have felt at that time, yeah, they need that. They need that. But I feel over results in time proved the golf.
Yeah.
Proved the golf, not the players.
But you, after you'd done a bit of work with Steve and you were able to reflect on your career, did you have regrets about that time? Because I almost like to think that Steve helped you realise that you were a different person back then.
No, I think we're all different people in different situations. When you don't know what you don't know, so your reaction, you put me into a corner, then my reaction was always to come out. Like, I'll come out swinging, that's it. Like, if I'm in a corner, then I'm fighting. That was my mentality as a young kid. Look, if I had a football and I took that football out where I lived, be prepared to fight. Because that ball might not come back otherwise. You understand? It's like people that's going to take it off you. So it's like you have to gain a pack with 4 or 5 friends. Like, look, if someone nicks my ball, then we got to be ready to go. And it was like, okay, you know, and if someone backed out of that, there was a problem there. So we knew it was, and if it wasn't my ball, it was someone else's. So every time we went out to play football, you knew there was going to be a fight. And if it wasn't in the game, because someone had kicked someone or they just kicked off there or someone was losing, you knew what was going to happen. So every day of playing where you think it's enjoyment, which it completely was, but you had that side to you as well. It's like, I'm ready. Like, I have to be. Otherwise, I ain't going to be able to play you. You know, these kids are not going to allow you to play with them. So it was like, be ready. So that mentality was always there. But when it came to that situation, it was like sometimes like you just need to breathe, take a step back, see the bigger picture, see what's really happening. And I just probably wasn't educated or self-aware enough to be able to slow down.
Yeah. But also all of your career had been built on the fact that you reacted in a sort of fiery way and it was successful for you. It worked for you.
Yeah, exactly.
That was learned behaviour.
It was learned behaviour, not good. But if I would have, I'm telling you, if I would have learned, or if I would have gained the tools I have now, and if I had been given those tools earlier, it would allow me to be a better player. Like people would always convince you into the fact that, yeah, but he needs that. That's what makes him play so well. This is what, and it's so not true.
But there's a lovely chapter in Paul Ferris's new book, who was a physio at Newcastle when you were there, and he describes the chapter as one player, two managers, two different outcomes, and he describes you with that incident with Souness on one hand, and then he talks about Bobby Robson expressing his frustrations about you, and you walk in the room, and then he puts his arm around the shoulder and tells her how important you are.
Yeah.
And he says the best football he ever saw was through that second method.
Yeah.
Which coach do you think did get the best out of you, and how and why?
Like Sir Bobby Robson definitely gave me the confidence to be amongst the elite, to be able to live in that.
How did he do that?
Just the confidence, just like the belief. I was aware of Sir Bobby Robson's career and the players he's managed. And if he's telling me I'm this good and the players he's managed, then I must be really good. You know, it just felt like, and even when he went out to a game, I felt like I'm 6'2", 6'3". You know, like he would tell you like a little bit like, I can't believe this centre-back's, like, I can't believe they're playing him against you today. You're too much for him. You're too much for him. Go and make sure you go and show him that today. You know, so it just had that. And unfortunately, sometimes I'd tell the player, you shouldn't be playing against me today. You know, it was like, he'd done so well for me that way. But then the opposite way, where someone's actually saying, well, you're not that good a player. Because that's what it was. You know, if we're talking about football, it's like, well, good players don't need coaching. And I was like, clearly I'm not a good player then.
Right.
So my mind then, you know, obviously I appreciate I wasn't as good as you. But when someone says that to you, made you feel like I didn't feel as valuable.
And that was one of Souness's methods.
Yeah.
Good players don't need coaching.
Good players don't need coaching. No one had to tell me how to play. I wasn't him. I wasn't as good as him. I needed coaching. I didn't have that ability. And the way that made me feel compared to what made me feel that way, I know which way I want to coach. I want every player to feel like I did there. So
What, under Bobby?
Completely under Bobby.
But isn't it interesting as well, though, that you could remove all of the challenging times in your life, right? And there's a strong argument that if you take all those away, you're not the manager that you are today, because to see the other side of the coin is so valuable for you now, because you know how it made you feel when you felt belittled, misunderstood, criticised, discarded. So those are actually valuable moments almost.
That's why I said it, like from the past, there's only lessons. You only learn. Good and bad. You know, only improves you. You have to be willing to be able to put yourself in that position to be self-aware of what did you like, what didn't you like, what worked for you, what didn't work for you. And also, like everything I even look to do now, even coaching, there has to be a why. Every training session, there's a reason behind it. This is why we're doing this, because we've looked at the opposition. Even from the first moment we're together, first meeting, it's all about the next, like the next team. Because I need to know why. Now, if you were like, I go back to school, if you're telling me, do this, do that, it ain't working for me. I won't do that. I literally will not do it. You know, but if you give me a reason why and you allow me to, then I'm there. But if you don't and you just ordered me, I won't do it. I won't do it. Or like my mum would always just say to me, like, do not just tell him to do it because he won't do it. And I was like her as a child. You know, I remember once she left the stove on in the kitchen. She was a good mum, you know. It just doesn't, like, she is a good mum. She is now. She left the stove on in the kitchen, boiling hot. Straight away, she walks out. She goes, whatever you do not touch that stove. I go in the kitchen. I'm stood there for about 5 minutes looking at it. What's it going to do? Then the bump, hand on, burnt. She's just outside laughing because she knew I was going to do it. You know, I was always that type of kid, you know. But when you explain it, when you tell it, like, and give me, then I'm there, like, I get it. I get it. And so I look at every player like I was coaching me. How do I get this? How do I, like, because I was more complicated than most. So I treat everyone as if, well, if I was coaching a young me, this is what you need. And this is why you need this. I don't believe in any player. I don't believe in any player being injury prone. I feel they're mismanaged. So anyone says an injury prone player, it's not true. The training schedule is not right. I believe they're being mismanaged. So be very careful of that. But also, I don't believe any player is a problem. I feel that's mismanagement again. We don't get it right. Now, if you've got a player and you've brought a player in and he has had big problems before and this, and this, don't feel you're the hero who can save the day. Let it go. I completely believe in that. But if I felt I couldn't connect with a player, I have to do more. I have to do more. And even international stage, like, is one player I didn't quite connect with, just didn't have that time in that period. So I'd travel to London, go and have a meal with him and, you know, just spend time with him and speak to him, not even about football. Just got brothers, sisters, you know, your partner, this, just get to know the person, because the more you get to know that person, allows you to be able to coach them. If you don't know the person, don't think you can coach. It's only going to allow you so much. So know the person, know what triggers. Like I like.
Can you give us an example of somebody where you've gone for a meal with them, found out something that you've been able to use? Maybe not name names, but
No, but you like, we used to, like, I used to do. I used to profile the players. So we'll go through, like, again, we're psychologists as well. So we'll profile them. And it's not always like just sign a sheet of paper, tick yes, you know, we try and do it in person as well. So you're able to speak to them and then you'll find out, you know, it taught me a lot, which some players just need more. So whatever information you give is not enough. They need more. But then those players are like incredible. So your tactical stuff, you can start moving them around because they need it. They get it. Now, some players need, like, very limited. So how you build your structure is a little bit different with them. Let them be them. Don't try and bring them too much into, like, I got to ask him to play in a pocket, then I ask him to play 6 or double 6 and 8 at times, you know, where he can mix with. It's not for him. He just likes being there. Let him be him then. But he's good at that. Let you be you. It's not for me to change you. Now, the ones who need more, give them, they run the team. They start moving, they start seeing things. But they need that. So build that. But if I was trying to do that to a player that, for instance, doesn't quite trigger that way, he only needs 1 or 2 bits because that's what he wants. But I was trying to get him to move him into here, then move him into there. Then he's looking at me. I've mismanaged it. I've done it wrong. I haven't understood him. Now, where 1 or 2 players need that, they need that flexibility because they just get stimulated. They move. And you'd be surprised how many you do have at a club. You don't get a team full of them. You get 2, 3. If you're lucky, they're the ones who start moving. They're the ones who start dictating your team. They start, like, coaching before you are having to do anything on the side. So give them more. And the other ones, they know what they're doing. So, and I like, at the same time, like everything, like when you're doing it, you want to be you. You don't want to be scripted on a, like, oh, you've got to say this or ask this question or ask that. No, you want to be the best version you can be, but you need to be free. You know, and then you're going to get the best. You're going to be the best at what you do. Am I right? As players the same. Let them be them. Like in the final third, I can't tell you what to do. I can get you there, but whether it's a step over, whether it's a cry, I do not know. That's your own ability. That's whatever you're good at, and which you clearly are, because you wouldn't be here. Be you. Just commit. You give it away, not a problem. We'll win it back. You know, and I feel that's what I would have wanted. I would have liked that.
So that's interesting there. You said just be you, which for a lot of players is difficult because they're like, what, be me with 50,000 people watching and live television cameras and qualification on the line.
We don't play for them. And I mean that in the nicest way, you know? Their emotions are supposed to be high, low. There's that roller coaster, they're supposed to be on. We ain't. We've got to be clear. So if they shout, get it forward, hit it long, believe it or not, it'll work against us. No, we have to keep it. Then we move it the other side. So let them be them. That's what they pay their money for. That's why they have their view. Completely respect it and need them as well at times, But if it isn't going well, we still got to be us, not them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
They're supposed to ride the roller coaster. We can't. Nor do we want to, because our game then becomes inconsistent and our flow becomes inconsistent. We can't allow that to happen. We start taking unnecessary or start moving the ball where we don't need to be moving it, or people are not controlling in positions. Then we become vulnerable because we've got involved in emotions. Now, if we stay away from that, we play for us. Do you understand? You play for the person next to you. You play for him next to you. Let them get on with it. That's for them. It's not for what we're trying to do. And once you move that away, players I found, and I don't know, and that's maybe a younger coach. I say younger coach, I'm not quite young, I'm 45, but maybe an inexperienced coach. I see players, they're fine then. It's about us. It's about what we do. Of course, we look at the opposition, we adapt, but enable to be adapt in different shapes because we're going to about 6 in a game. That's with and without the ball. Then we change that up again. So, our library is quite extensive. It needs to be, but it has to be if you're clear in mind. If you forget about the library because you're getting involved in, oh no, I'm going to have to start running here and do that because you hear a roar or you hear a boo or something, or it affects you that way, then you're not going to be able to play the way we want to play. So we have to be clear on that. It's we play for who's in this room.
You said one other thing there, again, almost a throwaway comment that I imagine your Wales players have heard from you. You said, we lose the ball, we win it back. So again, giving your players, I guess, some psychological safety to be able to be wrong, to make mistakes.
You have to be. We can't score if you don't. I've never seen a goal just perfectly moved and there. You very rare you get that. It's about trying to beat a man. It's about, I don't like the word risk. I try and keep that well out of every team meeting I do. It's take responsibility. That's the key for me. Take responsibility.
And what's the difference?
Risks, what's the risk? It's I don't see football as a risk. Play out from the back. If you've got 7 against 5, you've got 2 extra players. We could do this all day. I could put you on a possession area this size here. The 5 wouldn't touch the ball. And they'd be looking at me going, well, we're up against 7. It's not fair. Why wouldn't we do that then in a match? Because what? People see that as they like to use that word. It's not a risk. It's common sense. It has to be common sense. Now, if they go 7v7, then we got more space on the back line. That's what I want. That's all I care about. Can we go there and win? Because then in this space, then it's a fair fight. But if we go there and win because they got 5 against our 7, but then surely their numbers then, okay, we go 5, 6, we include the goalkeeper because now they go a lot higher. Against what? Our 3? Who's going to win it? Or who's going to win a second ball? They are. So I'm just giving them possession. But people get fearful of that. I can't understand it. I've never been able to understand it because I was that player trying to win a flick on or trying to control it. And I got one player coming from there, one player coming from the front. And then you look at me saying, hold it up. How can I hold it up? Yeah. It didn't make, honestly, and even that's why I was probably more frustrated as a player. It was but no, you create the scenarios. But if you give me a 1v1 when it's a race, then we're in. Then we've got a game on. So create the scenarios. Create the right scenario to benefit that player, to give him the fair chance, give him the opportunity. So that's all that part is.
And there's another lovely bit you said there about we play for the people in this room. That idea of you create that team spirit, those strong bonds. How do you do that?
Team's everything. You cannot be individual run. It's impossible. Now, the more, say, for instance, the individual buys into the team, the better it's going to be for the individual. Then you'll be able to perform even better. Now, for me, it's we have to respect our roles on the pitch. Now, if you interchange, not a problem, but you have to own that role. Don't think you can start disappearing now and start, no, You have to respect that role, respect your position. Now, I'd always say with players, for instance, you might not touch the ball, but I'm telling you about the best game because you've been in the right position. You've occupied 3/4 of their players, allows us to free up someone else. But if you start wandering and start, because you're not getting it and think you can play for you, the whole structure breaks. Then we lose out. So then you're not playing for the team, you're thinking about you. So the team's the most important. Now, understanding that role, I might have to sacrifice my game today because I'm not getting a touch, but I'm occupying players because that's what you're going to do if you're not getting a touch. Frees up someone else and realizing that that's the team and that player appreciates that one. When you recover, do we all recover back? Is the forward still hanging up there? Then he's not part of the team. Can't be part of the team. So then you lose and we lose out. Then you're not respecting the team. So you have to come back as well.
I tell you what, I think this is a brilliant conversation, and it's so nice to delve into the way you're managing Wales and the way you're talking to your players and the culture that you're trying to create. Is that there are still people that will think of, I don't know, a story from the past, like when you went at John Arne Riise with a golf club, right?
I think a lot of people are let go.
Well, exactly. That's the point.
No, but I understand.
But we
it
need
as
to
well.
sort of, but this conversation stands as a testament to the fact that you can be that person at one point in your life where you had demons and struggles and challenges and issues, but you can also be this person as well and not put people in a box like this anymore.
I know. I think I've always been this person, but what's allowed me is to bring this person to the front. I've always been this. I'm always happiest being this person. Now, this person was always there, but how can I be consistent with it? And as we know with everything, like we talk about habits, but life is consistency. How can I be consistent?
So where was this guy on that day when you lost it and went with the guy? Where was this guy then?
In alcohol, there's no reasoning. There's no reasoning. Now, what might sound like a good idea, come alcohol into that, there's no good ideas. You just go wherever you feel your ego is going to take you at that time. So that's another reflection of like, well, is drinking right? Does it suit me? Does it help me? No, it doesn't. Any real incident I've ever had has been drink related. Now, I'm lucky I don't drink that much because probably you would have seen a lot more. Now, it doesn't suit me. So I have to be conscious of that as well. Now,
So you were drunk when that happened, right?
Yeah, of course. Of course. It's the most insane moment going. And it's not trust me, this is not an excuse. Obviously, something was going on there to allow that to happen. No matter what I thought the situation was at the time. But that moment of actually taking a step back, realizing what's good, what's not, wasn't even there. Wasn't even part of it. I was fully aware of the consequences, and I wasn't even the day after. Didn't have a problem with it. And then a couple of months after, then you start, that wasn't the most cleverest moment of my career, which I'm going to have to live and answer questions like this 20 odd years on. I have to own it. I also have to move on from it as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the mistakes I made, I've beat myself up well over. Like beyond like what you can even ask me. You know, those moments haunt me.
Even now?
Oh, of course. Of course. But there's a period then you got to let go. You've got to let go. It's like, I can't beat myself up over, you know, like my first partner being unfaithful constantly. You know, that haunted me. Hated it. Couldn't like beat myself up anymore. In the end, you've got to start being kind to yourself as well. It's like, look, grow like this done. It's part of your life that you can move away now. You know, it's like, can't keep hanging over you. And I think as soon as I was able to move away from that and put that to the side, it doesn't mean I don't regret it. It doesn't mean I'm not like, but that moment is done now. It's like, where's the future? Where do you want to go?
But how do you be kind to yourself?
By like, it's a really good question. But I'm like, I think you could tell even in my interviews and how I speak, and not just like, I'm not talking about this one now, but when you see me do an interview, like even with Wales and everything's positive. Because that's all I'm living my life now. That's all I care about. I don't care about the consequences of getting beat. People are like, I do not get it. And I don't mean that in an arrogant, far from it. I'm like completely not that way. But I'm like, I want to have a go. I rather much prefer, and I've said this before, to fail, but trying something great.
Yeah.
than to doing nothing and succeeding. You know, that's my motivation. Try and be something different. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to be that. There's going to be plenty better managers than me, like by a long way, and who I completely admire. But I'm like, I don't want to be like the others. Now, maybe the change for Wales, because we've been a lot of five at the back for 5-4-1, relied on an individual, camped out, and I don't mean use that word camped out, but it got us decent success. We qualified 3 tournaments. Now, when he spoke to me about being a manager, I'm like, I don't play this way. I play this way. Now, everyone would be feeling like, you can't do that with them. You can't do this to them. Like, I was lucky the director of football was like, yeah, great. This is what we want. And the players want you. You know, we spoke to them all as well. They all want you. You know? And I was like, let's do this.
How did that feel?
Yeah, I was there. Honestly, I was there. But I also, in my mind as well, when it ended with Gary, this is how we were playing as well. So this is like,
oh mate,
we're coming to take any, like, I'm not worried about what transfer market value that squad is, what transfer market, like, and is it a fair fight at times? Probably not. Population of 3 million people. You know, we're in a city right now 3 times the size of our country, you know, population wise. What that means we don't stand a chance? No, of course we do. It's not always about pride and fight in which we like to resemble ourselves. Like, we have talent. We have talent. And I believe they have talented coaches. Now, how can we excel? How can we make the difference? Do we do the same as what others are doing? Or do we try and be completely different? But we have to be really structured and really clear with our messaging and consistent with our messaging. That's going to allow us to then maybe flip something that hasn't been done. Or for Wales, sorry. Other nations, of course, have done it, and other club teams by a long way have done it. But that excited me the most. You understand? It was like, this is there. I have the players to be able to do it this way. Now you'll see Harry Wilson, people are talking about Sorba, they've excelled and this. No, they're just being given what they should have been doing anyway. These players are top.
But can I use the Harry Wilson example? Because he's on record as saying that you've helped him see football completely differently. And I'm interested in, how do you think you've achieved that?
I see football completely different to what I've seen over the last number of years. My brain has worked like different bits. And I probably feel like me and Vinny found that together as well. We started looking at different things, looking at this, looking at that, best this, best that. How can we combine everything?
Can you give us an example what you mean by that?
Like, I'll look, say, I've been very lucky that I still work with people from an analysis background that have gone into coaching, that have taught me tools in look at the trigger here, what's that do there, what's the habit here, waving the hands, turning back. So all these bits you start highlighting. These bits, I tell you, a good team. I think they're a good team. Okay, we see this now, see that. And then they're looking like, we got a chance here because we don't do that. That's an advantage straight away. Now,
so teams that are berating each other or throwing their arms up when a mate
it's banned for us. We don't allow it.
Because I think I get the reason, but tell us why you don't allow that.
No, I want it's wasting energy, but also it shows the opposition. It shows the opposition that you're, you know, I wouldn't say all discipline, maybe that's a bit harsh, but you're not in the game. You're too worried about other things. So, you know, we showed a moment, we've seen Turkey first game, and their habits, we've seen waving the hands if one don't go in and then Yilmaz on the left wing waves his hands twice. Then the third incident gets a second yellow red card. All in the space of basically 20 seconds. There's your moment. That's why we don't throw hands, because it leads to frustration. But also it leads to frustration from someone else. Now, if I see a centre-back coming up with the ball and he's waving his hands, where's my options? That just leads to the opposition to pressure even more.
Yeah.
So you're giving them a trigger. It's like, as soon as my hands come out, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
So what do you think if you were going to go play? You're like, oh, I'm going after you. Yeah, you do. It's normal to. We don't give you that. We cannot give you that. You understand? It's like, they're like, we do not give anyone a helping hand.
See, that's different, because I thought, like, when I go and watch football and I see somebody doing that to the teammate, the way I perceive it is that you've made a mistake and I wouldn't have done that. So you're almost saying that I think I'm better than you.
Yeah, I think it's complete, like, lack of respect to the player.
To your own team.
Yeah. We're going to be a team. We can't do that.
How much time do you spend preparing for a game or to present a game plan to your players?
No, quite a lot. You review quite a lot. Like even on my way here, I was watching the game back against Belgium again. So I'll be about 6, 7 time.
You watch a game back 6 or 7 times?
Try to, yeah. But probably might go more.
What are you seeing after the 7th view that you didn't see first, second, or third?
No, I try and break it down because I clip it all first, and then write my comments towards it as well. But then I just like looking at something, then I see the body shape, and that's from ours as well. We side on. That's our timing right. Centre back, you open. Because if you're closing, you have to take an extra touch. We can't afford an extra touch. We need to be done 2 or 1. But you can't do it if you're closed. So
Right.
people talk about passing drills, for instance. Why are you talking about passing drill? People talk about the quality of pass, but if your body's not open, it doesn't matter about the pass. You're never going to be able to play it forward anyway. So get the body open. Then you won't worry about the pass. So if your body shape, these little bits are not right, forget about all this. And we talk about playing, talk about building. Like if your body habits are wrong and they're not in, your shoulders are up and you can't see as much of the pitch as possible, forget about it. Because the player then pressing, if we see that on the opposition, we see, look at the body language, look, he's square. So then you start changing your press a little bit because I want to go on the shoulder where I can see your number a little bit. And if I just start just a little bit, then your touch is going to go backwards. It's done. You've done enough. But our habit, if he's open and he can see me coming, I ain't going to press.
And aside from the actual game, what are the other non-negotiables that you're bringing into this Wales squad that you think are making a tangible difference?
I don't, like, they have a big togetherness, so that's definitely been left me by previous coaches.
Yeah.
Like the bond. Like the one thing I done was open the tables up. I don't like small tables. We all got to be together. So we all eat together. The captain tells you when you can eat, when you can finish, when you can leave the table. He's in charge. I run a players committee. So the 4 or 5 of every camp go through tactics, go through what we expect this week, the simple messaging. So it doesn't just come from us, it comes from you as well as players. So they get it, they know it. So if things in training, like, we need to say, just talking then off the top of my head, side on, like, is like, you need to be side on. Get side on quick. The players are saying it. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm.
They're communicating it because they're the ones. So I ask, what can help you? What can I do? Do you need anything for this or that? And they're usually brilliant because they're, I have Ben Davis and that as well, who are like incredible leaders, credible people. So they give you something back. Do you understand? They teach you as well, which is so important. It's not just one like you're teaching me to be a better coach. But like there was a big thing made of like the shirt swapping. And it's not because I don't respect, I want our shirt to be the most important shirt out there. Like, I understand if opposition are asking for it, no problem. But we're not going to give it away. It's like you work too hard for that. Like, you have to own that. Now, I'm telling you, if I was at any club, like whatever job I have, I hate the word even job. Like, wherever I'm working, it's the best place in the world. Has to be. Has to be because I'm here. This is the best. There's no other place I'd rather be right now. And I feel that right now, of course. Now, if I was, say, for instance, Norwich, it's the best place in the world. It's like the best place.
Yeah.
I'm making the best place. That's
It actually is, though, Norwich.
No, yeah, it's actually a really good place. You're right. It's probably not the best example.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah. But no, but it always feels like the biggest place in the world, because we're there. And it was like, like even at Anderlecht with Vinny, we felt that. Like, this is the best place in the world. When we have Burnley, it's the best place. What better place can work, come to do our work?
And can I ask you, you've always had the strongholds of Cardiff and Swansea as football hotbeds. What your perception is of what's happening in Wrexham?
Great. I'd like to see him have more Welsh players. I believe that's time. I'd like to see him with a younger team as well, but I believe that's time. They've just been, just promoted, and they've used a lot of experience and that for that. But what they've done with Reynolds, and it's like he's not just an actor. He's like Brad Pitt level. Like I would watch any film he's in. Like if he's part of a team, I want to see that team as well. So not just being Welsh, like wherever I was from, and I can see why so many Americans and have sort of fallen in love with it. It's been hugely beneficial for Wales, not just Welsh football, for Wales as a country. I feel like a lot of Americans now know where Wales is. It's not just a small place by London, and that's only big for us. And I honestly, I'd say everything about it's been so positive. But I believe in the long run, hopefully, Welsh football would really be able to benefit from them as well, because surely their academy is going to improve. Better players are going to allow better players then to come through, and that's only going to benefit our country.
Look, I think this conversation is so interesting because you seem so in flow, so happy, so content, so clear in the vision of what you want for Wales and the direction you're going. But I also think we have to be really careful because there will be people listening to this who might still be in the place that you were in previously with mental health challenges and anxiety and all sorts of things. I think we can't make them think that like you were there and now you're here and everything's perfect.
No, it's all. No, it's every day. It's every single day. Every single day. Especially even after the camp where the crash comes, then it takes me a good week. But the more tools you have, the more you learn about yourself. What sends you into a moment of being very quiet. How you need to be able to not snap yourself out of it. It's not like sometimes go with it.
Because you had an issue at Anderlecht and you left because of depression, right?
Yeah.
Are you happy to talk about that?
Yeah, no, it was fine. It was during COVID period, which was a test for everyone. And I feel for people like myself, that definitely deal with depression. It was beyond the test. And I probably the not knowing of 1 minute we're okay, then we have that flexibility of being able to move about, which I need to be able to move about. So we could be in lockdown again next week, or we can't do that. And that was really fearful. And that really would play on my mind quite a lot. And it was really, I think I just got burned out from it because I threw myself a lot in work, because in work we could stay there. So near enough living at the training ground, because, it's like you go, like there was a curfew if you left and back home, and so stay there, then I can get up in the morning, and next thing you know, you've just worked beyond hours, and just lost all fun really. And I don't mean nothing to do with Anderlecht or with Vinny. It was just like, I was worn out. I was just drained. And I knew carrying on I wasn't going to be good for the players.
Yeah.
And generally you just get snappy and you start like that cloud was over me.
What does that cloud feel like to you?
Oh, everything's rubbish. Everything's rubbish. I could have the best food going in the kitchen. It didn't taste nice. Just everything. And that was just like a flipping comment of those type of scenarios.
Yeah.
Don't enjoy anything. And I hate being that person. I cannot be that person. When I need to be able to, even the smallest bits enjoy, like I always say, and I really believe it, like I am here for the tiniest period. You think of civilization, you think people won't remember me. That's not like why I'm here, and you know what I mean? Why am I interested? Or why wouldn't I be interested of loving it? Loving every second of being. So when my time does come, I do not know when, I go, woof, that was top. That was top. That's what you should be. That's what, And if someone gets to walk past my grave site and like, oh, I remember that. Brilliant. Most won't. But to me, it was like, I got to live a dream. And I'm so, so grateful for that. I can just literally now, like this period of football, of coaching, and the part I mentioned earlier on where maybe I wish I enjoyed it more.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy every second of this. So when you get those nerves just before the game, so natural too, I'm like, but I love this. This is what I want. What's the worst that can happen? I lose.
Yeah. What are you doing to protect your mental health on a daily basis?
I have like an incredible partner, who's like the best person. We have 2 young kids together, and they keep me. I really enjoy this stage of being a father. I've really been present through it, and I've really enjoyed that. Every moment, every day changes with him, and I look forward to that. When I hear him in the cot in the morning, I can't wait to get up. You know, even though my partner might say different as well at times, she does. Yeah, she's really good at that because she does get up at 5 a.m. But you know, you see that smile, you see like where maybe I would have just wouldn't have seen that as much last time
Yeah.
because I wasn't as present. And I don't know, maybe I think with my partner being so in love, gives me that feeling of I don't feel I've ever had. And it gives me that moment of like, I don't think I can love a person anymore. You know, is that like strong? And I'm so grateful for that because I was always, maybe I wouldn't get that. And I didn't want to live my life without having that. Now, whatever happens in the future, I've had that.
That's nice.
I know what
so
that is,
nice.
you know? And that to me is like, it's worth more than any of this. You know, that person there, my partner, she is worth more than anything going.
But you sound like a guy when we listen to your biography of, like, it's an incredible survival story in many ways, you know, from the anxiety as a young boy to going to Norwich and feeling that homesickness and trying to sabotage and then having to put on a mask when you arrive at Newcastle to be somebody. What is it that's happened that's allowed you to be so vulnerable now and therefore to be
No,
loved?
I've just gained tools. I've gained, I've just like all the emotions and the feelings of, I didn't have the tools to be able to cope with it then. I wasn't aware. So a reaction's going to come. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I'm like so frustrated within myself and I don't know how to express it all. I feel this is normal. I just don't know what's going on.
And if there was someone listening to this then that is searching for those tools,
Mm.
would you advise the one that's been most effective for you to do that?
I use someone even now in Cardiff who I see quite regularly.
Okay.
I think it's important for me. Sometimes even just to talk. You know, it's not like, it's just airing something that might be just so like unimportant, but actually getting it off your chest. Like you walk out like, that's done, you know, and it's like, you need that at times because as men, it's so normal. We do not talk about our feelings. It's like, and even from years past, like we're getting a lot better at it now, but it's still a lot of work to be done. Like I am not a normal person, nor do I want to be. That's the honest truth. I'm unique because there's only one of me, you know, and I don't mean that in an arrogant, nothing to do with it. Like, thank God, probably a lot of people would say, but it is only one of me. Like, there's only me in this world, like me, Craig Bellamy, you know? So why wouldn't I try and be kind to myself? Why wouldn't I want to live the best life I can? And that's really what I try and focus on. And in order to do that, then I have to maintain myself as well. And not just like you would do with your body, fitness-wise, and you have to maintain your mind. Because then I have a leadership role now. I will not be, if I can't lead myself, how can I lead a group? Then how can I lead a country? It's impossible.
I wonder what you would say to someone who might have heard bits of this conversation and realise that maybe they're in a place you used to be, but they're too scared to go to therapy. They're too scared to open up. They're too scared to talk.
I know, I would understand it because it's common. I look at like, say for instance, when we look at, I think like if I keep trying, and that's say improvement myself or wherever it was in football wise, if I keep working, something could change. It has to change. Now, I do not know when. It could be a week, it could be a month, it could be a year, it could be 10 years. But I honestly believe something will change. Now, if I don't do something, if I don't have the consistency of waking up and getting out of bed, working hard, and, you know, these type of moments, how can I expect anything to change? If it does, it won't last. It's only going to be a short period. But if I constantly, no matter how much life's thrown at you, and now, like, it's supposed to be hard. It's like, of course it is. And football even more so. And I don't mean, no, I'm actually wrong with that. Life's harder. But in football, you know, it's got to be hard because it's worth having. Nothing's going to come to you easy. It's impossible to. So you have to work. Now, it might not be going the way you want it to, and that's in life as well. But if you keep being consistent, you keep working, something will change. It has to change. Now, if you don't do anything about it, like I said, can't expect it to. Don't expect the same results. Expect it to be, and I think learning that, and also like even no matter what's going on, get up, go for a run, do whatever, you know, but get your ass out of bed. It's like, can't lie there all day. Something's going to change. And when it changes, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. I do not know when, but I honestly believe something's going to happen like ridiculous. And when it does, like...
Right then, some quick fire questions.
Yes, yep.
The 3 non-negotiable behaviours that are most important to you.
Turning your back. Now, that could be block shots. Can't turn your back. And turn your back if they're like live, like they're going to take a quick goal. You cannot turn your back, throw it, nothing. So always face the ball. I was taught that as a young kid from my dad anyway. So it was like, that's always lived with me. Reactions. As soon as you lose it, win it back. That's your first thought. Have to win that ball back. And I would say no waving hands. Can't have that. It breaks me. It breaks me. Can't accept it.
What advice would you give to a teenage Craig just starting out?
Enjoy every second. Enjoy it. You know, what you might feel is bad or you might not feel like isn't. You know, just smile. Smile, enjoy everything that's going to come, good and bad. Embrace everything. I don't feel I've done that enough.
If you could go back to one moment in your life, where would you go and why?
This, right now. Honest truth. This right now. It's the most. It's the best. It's the best. And I'm right in it. Right in it. Like it's been like a year now. So, I don't know where. Like, you ever see the film Shawshank?
Yeah.
Yeah. When the guy is like, they're asking like Indian, like they always believe that when they pass, that person gets to live that life back. No, it wasn't Shawshank. You have to forgive me. It's the Green Mile.
Oh yeah, the Green Mile.
Yeah. And it's like, they always give you that moment of the happiest moment. And this was being on top of a rock with his partner, newly married, you know. Not saying what else they've done, but like if you were, that was my moment, like this would be it now.
And the final question, Craig, is what's your one golden rule to live a high performance life?
Consistency. It's everything. You know, and that's consistency in your message, consistency in your habits. Just to be consistent. That's what allows you then, you know, I think if you can master consistency, you can master progress.
Listen, Craig, we both wish you the very best for the future. I think Welsh football feels like it's in exciting hands, but more importantly than that, it's not about football, this conversation, it's about life. And I think, you know, sometimes it is difficult to ask the questions and to answer the questions when we're talking about your mental health challenges from your past and, you know, depression and mistakes and stuff. But to have a current international football manager sit here and talk like this, it's the kind of conversation.
You won't get it. You won't get. You don't get them. Yeah, I think that's what's grabbed a little bit what I've been doing. I try and be open.
Yeah,
I try and be open. And if you want to talk football, let's talk football. And I try and do that in my interviews as well. I'm not like other people, and I don't mean to say I'm negative towards anyone else. Far from it. I try and be me.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Craig. Thank you.
No, thank you.